History is often told as a grand, sweeping narrative, a story of famous kings, decisive battles, and inevitable progress. But what if the tale we've been told is incomplete? What if, buried beneath the headline events, lie the hidden stories, the forgotten players, and the subtle turning points that truly forged a nation? Beyond the well-trodden path of England's past, a more complex and fascinating history is waiting to be uncovered. A history shaped not just by victors, but by the ghosts of what might have been. The year is 1066. The Battle of Hastings is over. King Harold lies dead, and William of Normandy is poised to seize the crown. But the throne was not his for the taking just yet. There was another claimant, a legitimate heir in the eyes of many Anglo-Saxons, Edgar Atheling. This young prince, a direct descendant of the old royal line, was proclaimed king by the ruling council in London. For a brief, flickering moment, the future of England hung in the balance, embodied by a teenage boy with the weight of a kingdom on his slender shoulders. Yet, facing the relentless advance of William's seasoned army, Edgar's support crumbled. He was the lost king of England, a poignant footnote whose failed claim symbolizes the brutal end of Anglo-Saxon rule and the turbulent birth of a new Norman era. His story reminds us that history is never a straight line, but a series of contested moments. Centuries later, another young royal would find himself at the center of a different kind of power struggle. In the early 14th century, England was not ruled by its king, but by his mother's ambitious lover, Roger Mortimer. The young Edward III was a king in name only, a puppet in a court rife with intrigue and betrayal. But this was no passive pawn. Fueled by a quiet determination to reclaim his birthright, Edward planned a daring coup. One dark night in 1330, he and a small band of loyal followers navigated secret tunnels into Nottingham Castle, surprising Mortimer and seizing control of the realm. At just 17, Edward III asserted his authority in a masterstroke of courage and cunning, ending a corrupt regency and beginning a reign that would redefine English kingship and military might. His audacious move was a stark lesson in medieval power. Thrones were not merely inherited, they had to be won and held. While kings and nobles vied for power, a far more indiscriminate force was about to reshape English society from the ground up. When the Black Death swept across the land in the mid-14th century, it did not distinguish between rich and poor, noble and commoner. The plague left devastation in its wake, wiping out nearly half the population. For a resilient villager who survived, the world was irrevocably changed. With labor suddenly scarce, the rigid feudal system that had bound peasants to the land for generations began to fracture. Serfs could demand wages, seek better opportunities, and challenge the authority of their lords. This catastrophic event inadvertently planted the seeds of social mobility and economic change, leading to the decline of serfdom and the gradual rise of a new middle class. The profound long-term impact of the plague demonstrates that history's greatest shifts are often driven not by the designs of the powerful, but by forces far beyond their control. These are but a few of the tales hidden in the margins of England's story, each revealing a deeper and more intricate picture of how the nation was formed. By looking beyond the familiar headlines, we discover a past filled with forgotten contenders, audacious power plays, and transformative societal upheavals. So the next time you reflect on the story of a nation, remember to ask what lies beneath the surface. It is in these overlooked moments and forgotten figures that we often find the truest understanding of how the present was shaped